Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30-plus year video game enthusiast, industry analyst. I meant to add game developer to that, guys. I keep saying it. I'm so proud of it. I'm not like trying to be arrogant and can't really brag about it because you either want to do that stuff or not, but I feel like it's something I've always wanted to do and I could do it. I'll get over this soon, this little buzz I feel every time I talk about it. Hey, Steven, what is up? Guys, if you didn't check out the Gundam Explained show yesterday and Minna had her live the day before, do that. Get a double dose of Adam and Steven, or Steven and I. That was an automatic third person thing, but you watch Steven and I talk a bunch of cool hobby stuff. Probably some of the best conversation in like nerd geekdom, but having a lot of substance to it. I'm really proud. Anyway, where do we want to start? There's a lot of cool things we could start with. What I want to get out of the way, and I meant to do this here, actually, and I didn't, is like I got to set it up, have the thing that says, hey, Epic Space Battles, wish list on Steam. I'll make that for later, guys, but do that. I want to show you, though, and I'm glad you're here, Steven. I want to show you guys where I am with a couple things. We're not going to show that yet. First of all, Razor Squadron. Now, I am still, like, doing updates to Orbital Command. I'm doing, like, Orbital Command. That was the original name. Epic Space Battles. I'm doing minor tweaks, polish. I kind of like that I'm done, but it doesn't come out until September 30th because it's really giving me time to add little things here and there just to make it a tight production when it comes out. I'm also trying to be careful to set the right expectation that, you know, it's not a, like a $50 hardcore, like, sim, but it's like a small game. It's $5. I mean, I don't think that's a big deal, but it's like I'm afraid people will play and be like, that's it? But that's how it is a lot, too. I buy a lot of $5 games. Anyway, let me show you where I am with Razor Squadron. Because I love all these new things I've been finding out. I've been finding resources of free... Okay, I've been changing the menu. It's not what I want yet, or the main screen. I've been finding a lot of cool free assets from developers. Let me just start with stage 2. I've been tweaking visuals. I've added little, like, more parallax stuff going on. The bullets I'm trying... Oh, yeah, the bullets... I hadn't seen the bullets since I did this adjustment. So the bullets are easier to see. Okay, I'm seeing there's two different types I need to keep in mind. One looks better than the other. And they're all orange. I'm going to change some of that. And then for now, I'm adding the stars. I don't know if they were blue orbs. I changed it to stars. I'm debating. The reason I'm keeping them like stars is because that is what I'm familiar with in the shmups I like. So it's more of to keep that scope in mind that it's like, this is what I'm trying to make. And then as I get to the final, I might be like, okay, I'm going to change that from stars, or I might keep it. But I'm proud that I made the star animation. I mean, I said I made it, but I had to get all the frames, put that in codecs, and say, you know, apply each frame in order, and then some it messed up. Anyway, you can see now I have, like, 4 ships. You can get up to 6. Wait, additional, so 7. I was playing the last level. Like, so here's the thing. I have all of the levels done. It's just a matter of me going through and tweaking everything. Yeah, I have this voice here. Doesn't sound good. I'm trying to find a warning sound. I've had trouble with that. And then the bosses are, you know, because I haven't really programmed much. But then, yeah, between levels, this is when I got to change this menu too. I love the little system dynamics background. It was a hex, and I changed it. But this is where you can buy the additional wingmen. And I think I've got that system working pretty good. And I got to, I love the music. The soundtrack is killer. I haven't found the last one yet. But anyway, or the last level song. Let me get out of this. that's where that's going. But let me show you guys something else. This was when I had a brainstorming session last night. After actually, it was a little bit after Steven and I were talking, because we were talking about, what is a game that we could be making. And I told myself, well, what are some things I want to learn that I know I have experience in? And I was like, it has to be first person shooter. Like, that's just a staple in gaming, especially for me growing up. So what I did was I was like, okay, well, let's kind of go back to this process I've been using. I already have a lot of story, design, assets from Epic Space Battles and Razor Squadron. That's the follow-up. What if I can use that? And it kind of came to me pretty quickly. Instead of Doom, because that's what I'm trying to capture, it's going to be called Moon. Yeah, just Moon, but with the Doom style to kind of evoke that. And the idea is, like, think of if you were playing Doom, Doom is on Mars. But the game just plays normally. But the idea with this Moon game is it's first person, and there will be a gravity element to it. And you also have squad mates. Anyway, I was working on that for a while, because it's like, how often do you play a boomer shooter where you have other AI squad mates? It's not often. Anyway, so this is what I've put together so far. There's no sounds. I have these two teammates here. I just fell. I could send them here to cover, and then I can shoot that open, and then okay, so okay, it is working. I'm trying to fix how they react. Okay, maybe they're doing it okay. Oh, is there other enemies shooting me? Anyway, there's this gravity thing, so I can, like, pick up an object and smash it. I didn't program it to, like, destroy enemies yet. Oh, but it did. So the reason why I have you press L for your gravity thing is it's like a reverse. How do I explain it? In this game, your soldiers have personal devices for gravity on the moon. So, like, you can act normal, but if you hold down the left trigger, then I have to change this. But then you jump differently. You can then grab things. It's like it's like a limited thing. You have to wait to build back up. But what's cool about that is, even without, it's like you're manipulating the environment with gravity, but in unique ways. Where are you guys going? Did something happen? Here. There. So yeah, I can have them take cover. I can have them come to me. I have all the other stuff on here. Oh yeah. So I haven't tested that out yet. There's like, it's almost like advance, but I guess, yeah, they follow me, but they can focus on things. Let's see how. Yeah. Okay. Well. Anyway, what are some other things to this? Oh yeah, there's a bad guy over here actually. Oh, cool. They're shooting at it. Take cover there. What about you? Are you? Oh, you stuck? Oh, that's fun. There you go. Oh, did he? I wonder if. Oh, is he, like, taking cover there? It's going to be fun actually tweaking how the AI acts. But, the plan is there's going to be a lot of enemies and a lot of destruction, but it's all going to be very simple shapes. It's going to be Lunar Rock and white NASA Punk. Just to keep it simple, so then we can focus on. Let's see. Can I get them to? Yeah. They destroy the guy. And so the idea is there would also be, explosive barrels in Doom. Instead, it's going to be gravity barrels, where it will then, you shoot it and then it's almost like gravity is a resource. But I'll play around with that a little bit. But anyway, that's the start of Moon, and again, the only reason I'm starting it is because I'm done with Epic Space Battles. I say I'm finishing up Razor Squadron, but it's more iterative passes to polish it, because the level structure's done, the leveling system's done. I just got to tweak player health and damage, and polishing some of the assets. Yeah, man. Hey, Edamame. Yeah, Moon. Exactly. The purpose of it is to, again, evoke Doom, because that's a simple name. But then Doom was on Mars, but didn't feel like it was on Mars. Moon is going to be on the moon, and there's going to be the added elements, the gravity manipulation. Because I love to play around with physics, and I'm like, well, do I have a physics gun on the moon? It's like, no, let's play with the concept of gravity. The other thing, too, and I didn't bring it up, is when you hold down the left trigger, that then makes it where you can jump in lunar gravity. So it's like, let's say there's a jump you have to make, you hold down the left trigger to then do that jump because you can go further. And there'll be rooms that are with gravity and then rooms that don't have gravity, and or lunar gravity. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Because I feel like, again, using the foundations that I've already put in place, I was able to quickly iterate the mechanics of a game to make me excited about it, to then make me want to work on it. So, but all right, guys, let's jump into what I've been playing. And other than my games, which has been a lot actually. Lord of the Rings: War in the North. I talked about this a little bit. It came out like, what was it, last Friday or something randomly. It's a lot of fun. I think I've talked about it on here, and it has co-op. I almost feel like it would be more fun in co-op. Because I have fun. Like, I'll play a level, but then I'll be like, I'm gonna do something else, even though it's fun. And then I'll get the feeling like, oh, I want to jump in and play. It's just because it's not a remaster, the Legacy Edition. It's just quality of life improvements. There's still that layer of, I don't know, 2012 jank, 2012 unpolished in this, that it kind of gets tiring. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something else, but it's still fun. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Okay, I added Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls to my Game of the Year tracker. But I gotta say, I only have like 007, Star Fox, and Crimson Desert on here. I don't know the order exactly. That could be the order. But I mean, there's a lot of fun games this year, but there's not a lot of amazing games. For instance, we're getting that Xenoblade Chronicles, or we got the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Switch 2, and that's awesome stuff. Like, there seems to be a lot of more supplemental gaming. Like, for instance, the Starship Troopers Ultimate Bug War. This is a boomer shooter, first-person shooter, like I'm working on right now with Moon. But this is a fun game, but it's not in the top 5. The games that are in the top 5 for me are games that not only did they grab my attention, but like it also did things that made me think about gaming. Like, wow, that's cool. For Star Fox, it's the fact that it's a tried and true formula that still works, and I'm playing it and I'm having fun. And I almost did all the extra stuff. I got to go back and do that. And First Light, just doing the thing I like, where you have sandbox action and it's James Bond. And then Crimson Desert just being, I think, the next step in open world gaming. Not necessarily next step, but the ultimate final form. So, that reminds me, I picked up Xenoblade X on my Switch 2 finally. You'll have to let me know what you think, because I was surprised how much I liked it, considering I'm not into JRPGs or turn-based combat, and even though this combat's a little more action-based. But yeah, curious what you think, Edamame. Okay. Speaking of First Light, sales top 4 million, which is great, but I almost feel like that is low for a James Bond game, which that just could be where we are right now in life, where James Bond isn't as big a deal. That's why they need to get a new movie out, and they need to get someone awesome to play James Bond. And when I mean awesome, it's like Daniel Craig was a great stand-in for the idea of James Bond. But it's really hard to look at the Daniel Craig James Bond as a James Bond character. It just seems like this is the 2000s action movie style, or action thriller style James Bond, I think the actor they used in the game is more interesting to me than Daniel Craig. And that's the thing, Daniel Craig is a badass in the way he acts. as James Bond. But again, it's a perfect stand-in. It's very stoic. It's not like Roger Moore is a character in itself. Like when I talk about James Bond, it's like I'm specifically saying, but the Roger Moore stuff, it's kind of interesting how that goes. Daniel Craig had great villains for what it's worth. You know what? Yeah, great villain. It's funny how I feel like the villains were always more interesting than the story that ends up happening. I remember exactly, like Spectre, I think it was, or they had that dude. What's his name? He's good actor. Was in Inglourious Bastards, and I think he was supposed to play James Bond's brother, but he was the Spectre dude. But anyway, it's like with him, it's like, oh yeah, this is, and his scenes were awesome, but they didn't do anything. Story wise, it just never went anywhere. Yeah, it's like the things are always happening to James Bond because again, the Daniel Craig James Bonds, the way they were written, and this could have been just subconsciously, is he's just a stand-in for what people want out of James Bond. That's how I feel. Anyway, Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 is getting great reviews ahead of release, which is awesome. No, because it's not like there's some little thing people are complaining about, like, oh, it's only 30 FPS and blah, blah, blah mode or something. I don't know. I mean, really, I'm just wanting to play it for 4. I mean, even though I have my PS3 hooked up and I could be playing it at any time, but I guess it's just one of those things where I like how games can be modernized. Yeah. But hey, anyway, just good to hear about the reviews there. Okay, this is a little disappointing. So that 2XKO that I remember they announced, and I was like, wow, there's so many fighting games. And it was free to play. And it's like, okay, so that makes sense. There's so many fighting games someone can choose from, so you make it free to play. But that didn't work either. And it's not that it didn't work. I think it's like, it just, like they said, it didn't bring in enough money. But I mean, if you look at it, it's a very good looking game. And yeah, I downloaded it and then I never played it, which is so weird because I play as many fighting games as I can. I think because it's identity, even the name 2XKO, you could accidentally say like 2KXO or 2XK, which is what it is. But I just mean that name doesn't really stick. And then even the graphics, like it looks like live service game graphics. So it's hard to really, even for me to really find an identity with this. Oh yeah, this was something I wanted to make a joke about, guys, because look, oh, I didn't mean to actually like that. I was going to retweet and then I didn't. Because you guys heard like how EA employees are like, oh no, now that we're under Saudi ownership, what could happen? And it's like, what? Since the 2000s, EA has slowly been eroding the gaming industry. And like, hey, it's all for, if you want to get a job somewhere so you're making money at EA, if I got a job at EA, sure, but I can't then complain about, because that's ever since the late 90s, early 2000s, EA's business model changed to the sort of just the money thing. They were along with Activision, along with Sony, they were part of turning the gaming industry into that sort of stakeholder boardroom game and not the hobby or the pastime that it was. So if people right now are working for EA and complaining, it's like, what? So I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to follow Godot Engine since I use it to develop stuff. I don't know where those praises for EA came when they got bought. So it's interesting because there's interesting things going on. So when EA got bought, it was the same thing with SNK, and it's these private investors in Saudi Arabia will buy them and be like, yeah, make the games you want. But what happens is these private investors aren't necessarily managing. And this is actually the same thing that happened to Tencent in a way. It's like, we'll just throw all this money here, continue doing this, do that. And then if it doesn't work, and they're like, oh, well, we aren't going to be making more money. We made money off that. We're not going to be making more money. And then they move on. And that's like, So if you're working for a company and then you got bought and it went private or whatever, private equity or whatever, I mean, it's just you either accept it or you move on. Um, but I don't like that we're always looking up to where the money is to tell us where the gaming industry should be going. Let EA and Saudi Arabia, in the whole thing with Saudi Arabia, like I think there's some political things that make people worry about it. I will say under SNK, I'm sorry, SNK under the Saudi Arabia or whatever. Yeah, let me look that up actually. So I'm not just talking out of my mouth. What I'm trying to say is I feel like SNK has been doing good with the games they've been coming out with. Okay. Okay, let me scroll down here actually. I thought I'd see something up there and maybe there was something there. Oh yeah, and that's right. They're getting Katsuhiro Harada from Tekken fame, Bandai Namco, and some other. Yeah, SNK's forming VS Studio. So, man, again, I don't want to talk out my. There we go. In November 2020, the Misk Foundation, a non-profit organization owned by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, acquired 33.3% share of SNK. And that's just an example that I'm using to be like, well, SNK is doing pretty cool, but I really think it depends on the people within these companies that are owned by the private equity. And I think, for instance, them getting Harada is just an example of, we know what to do. But EA, like, what kind of pedigree, developer pedigree does EA have other than IP? You know, so. What else is there? Was that it? Oh, and then it reminded me of this, guys. I thought this would be an interesting discussion. So, Jason Schreier has his Twitter, and I've never really been a big fan of his gaming talk because what he does, and I get it, he's more of a tabloid journalist. What he tends to report on is when drama occurs. And I guess as an example, like follow Stephen Totilo, he usually covers when interesting things come together or emerge in the market. That's usually what Stephen Totilo covers. Jason Schreier, it's more of here's the drama here, here's the drama there. And I don't necessarily think that's good for the industry, because it's interesting how much he targets and like the average gamer who shouldn't care about this stuff. Like, we shouldn't care when these big companies are doing bad things because we shouldn't be relying on these big companies. I think that's part of the other problem with this reporting. Anyway, all this to say, he talked about Yacht Club games and went into some specific details, and it's drama-based, but it actually made me think a lot. So back when Shovel Knight came out, shortly after that, they started releasing all this free stuff, or like for Shovel Knight, or you can get a the free update or a free version of another. I forget what it was, but I always was thinking, man, is gaming that cool? Or game development that cool, where you can like make a certain thing, but then always make things for free, but still have money? But no, actually not. That put Yacht Club Games in a hole. In fact, their last game, Mina the Hollower, is supposed to try to get him out of that. So, as a game developer now, it made me look back at the times where companies are all about like giving away stuff for free, and it's like, as cool as that is, I don't think you can always do that. I think maybe an EA can do that, but like a Mina the Hollower, like Yacht Club Games, no, that'd be too hard to do. So, yeah, I mean, it just made me think. It's like I have to be very careful. As much as I would love to like give out stuff for free, it's like you really got to be careful. And and by charging, you're almost showing, how serious you are. And actually, that brings me back to the 2KXO or 2XKO. See, and Marvel Tokon, like 2KXO is free. I could have been playing it this whole time. Marvel Tokon is a full price game. And, well, kind of full price. It's not $70. I don't think. I didn't pay that much. But I bought it and I played through it. Because it's like, oh, Arc System Works using Marvel characters, and then the personal thing. Oh, Blade is in it. Whereas 2KXO, it's like, okay, this is Riot Games making a different game genre than they usually do. And that's really all you had to go by. Like characters, I don't know. And so yeah, and I think that's, I guess that's part of it. So it's like should this 2KXO game been a paid game? And if it was, would there have been more upfront production quality or or something value that would have made it survive longer than it did as just released as more of a skeleton live service game, if that makes sense. And that's something I think about. So even with my Epic Space Battles at $4.99, it's like, okay, is this $5 worth of stuff? It's like, of course it is, actually, it is. But it made me think even more because it's like, okay, well, with my shmup, I'm making something that has as much content as a $30 shmup. But because I am using AI to help me iterate faster, I feel then that I would probably make the game cheaper than the $30 version. It's just something interesting to think because, again, like if I can pump out games faster, maybe I charge less for them. And when I say pump out games faster, I'm not just trying to make games for the sake of it. It's more of I have so many ideas and I could sit here all day and make games. And so if I can like charge for them and not a lot, but a little, that would be a great way to go about it. Okay, never forget when the head of NFL was asked how he felt about EA's card packs ruining the reputation of the Madden games and bad precedent, and his response was, "Oh, they've made us a lot of money." Oh, interesting. Interesting. I didn't know about that. I don't really follow the NFL. Or Schreier manufactures drama if there isn't enough to sell clicks. Yeah, that's something I'll always be disappointed in. It's that that Japanese artist that had a very unique style, and Jason Schreier pretty much shamed him. And it was right at that moment of like the Me Too stuff to where people were, rightly so, being more open-minded to inappropriateness. But then people would attack anything, just like Me Too. It's like you could Me Too anyone, and that didn't matter. Or Jason Schreier calling out that, what was that guy's name? Katamari? No, that's a game. But it was an artist. Yeah, and shamed it, and it was wrong. You just don't do that. Yeah, he's done that multiple times. Let's see. It shouldn't be hard to calculate COGS on materials, labor, subscriptions, and fees for video games. Oh, from Vanillaware. Jim Killix, exactly. The guy from Vanillaware, which, funny because, yes, I think, was it last year? I finally beat Odin Sphere, and I've been meaning to, and then I was playing Dragon's Crown again because that's a good one. I like those games, and there's another one on Steam. I forget the name of it, but and it's interesting because, yeah, sure, they have the scantily clad looking women sometimes, not all the time, like some of them are, but that's not I think that's more of the exaggerated design philosophies that he follows, not that he was just sexualizing for the sake of it, because he'll make the knights where they have the smallest, tiniest feet, but gigantic torsos. Yeah, that's all that. Anyway, so guys, I'm going to head out. I'm going to work on some game stuff. And, Steven gave me the idea of streaming it. So I might do that sometime. The reason I'm saying that out loud is so that I can hold myself to it later, because I think it's beneficial in many ways. It's just, since this is newer to me, it's really hard to do that and stream at the same time. But we'll do that sometime. Anyway, guys, I'm going to head out. That was a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Good Friday. Yeah, see you guys back on Monday. So have a good one.